Hi, hello, it's Nikki, and welcome to my messy bookshelf. Today I'm here to share my most recent book haul. I have a rather large pile of books here that I have acquired over the last few weeks, and I thought I would share. I haven't done a book haul in a little while. So I have some used and new books here. This was sort of unintended because my used bookstore trip was the other day on a whim. I had an extra hour and they had the carts set up outside. I guess they're doing a clearance to try and make way for new books. So I did stop in there. And then the new books was definitely not intended. I did wake up to a gift card from my wonderful husband. Shout out to Pig Bay over at his channel. But he is out of town for work and he knew he wouldn't be here for Mother's Day. So I did wake up and had a lovely gift card to the bookstore. And he told me to spend the day with my daughter at the bookstore. So that is what we did. And so I will share what I got. So starting with the used books, most of these were only $1, so I think I did pretty well for the amount of books that I got. So the first one I got was one I've never heard of, and this is Exemplary Stories by Cervantes, Miguel de Cervantes. And this I picked up solely because of my wonderful experience reading Don Quixote last month, and I wanted more. So it looks like these are short stories that he wrote. I don't know if they're going to be as funny and entertaining as Don Quixote was for me, but I picked it up and it was $1, so we'll eventually get to that. The next one is one that I needed to replace on my shelves. I think this one was $3, but this is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And this I needed to replace on my shelves because I bought it after I read Circe and loved it several years ago. And then I lent it to someone, so never got it back. We now live across the country. Never gonna see that book again. So I did buy this to replace that copy, and this is about the legendary Achilles and his love for Patroclus. So we shall see some Trojan War action in there. The next one is one by Georgette Heyer, and this is not one of her romances. This is one of her country house mysteries, and this is The Unfinished Clue. And the cozy or country house mysteries are how I discovered Georgette Heyer several years ago. Well, actually, many years ago now. When I was a teenager, I used to read Agatha Christie after Agatha Christie from the library. And I started running out of things to read, so I got into these mysteries as something to fill the void, and I really liked them back then. Can't really remember many of them, but that's okay. So I did pick this one up, and this one is about a country house party, and the host, who is a very nasty gentleman, is murdered during his house party, and Scotland Yard is called in. So that is what this one is about. I don't remember reading this one, so $1. I'll take it. And then the next one is one that I don't know I would have picked up if it wasn't outside for $1. And that is The Housemaid is Watching, or no, it's The Housemaid. I thought I saw, maybe that's a sequel. But I see this book everywhere, and it looks like a thriller or a psychological type of thriller where the housemaid is sort of stalking the family. I'm not entirely sure. This may end up in a little free library, but again, it was $1. So I'll give it a try and see how it goes. And if I don't like it, I will put it into one of my local free libraries, little free libraries. And then the next one is one by Rhys Bowen, and this is The Venice Sketchbook. I purchased this one because I read all of I think there was 13 books by Rhys Bowen in her Royal Spyness series, and I love those books. Murder mysteries set in the Art Deco period, and I love those books. So this one is not part of that series, so I haven't read any of her standalones. And this one is about a young woman who is struggling in life, and one of her relatives passes away and bequeaths her a sketchbook and keys and a cryptic message. So, sounds like a lovely historical fiction saga, family saga. So we shall see. If it's anywhere near as good as her Royal Spinous books, I think I will really enjoy this. And again, it was very cheap. Now, these ones were not cheap. However, I did have a lovely Mother's Day gift card, so I did go in with a list. I had 3 books that I wanted to get, and I did find all 3 after some searching. The first one, and this is actually one of the ones that I went in looking for, this is The Secret Chord by Geraldine Brooks. I read, what was it, The People of the Book by the same author and loved it. This one is a historical fiction set around the biblical figure of King David, and if it's anywhere near as good as The People of the Book, I think I will love it. And that is all I know. I have heard people say that it was very good, so I wanted to read it because I loved The People of the Book. So went in looking for this one. I've had it on my radar for quite some time, and it's never in stock when I go to the bookstore. And yes, I know I could order books that are not in stock, but I enjoy the experience of going and browsing shelves, whether it's a used bookstore, the library, or a regular new bookstore. But yeah, that's that. And then the next one is one that I'm sure many of you have heard of and read, and that is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. For years, I have been hearing people talk about how this is their favorite fantasy series, and I'm always skeptical when people talk about fantasy. I decided to give it a try. I was watching a video the other day talking about why this was the person's top fantasy series of all time. I've been curious about this series for a very long time. Always hesitant to get into a fantasy series, but we shall give it a go. This one is about a young boy who is the illegitimate son of, I believe, the prince of the kingdom. And then he is secretly trained as an assassin. So, we shall see. The next one I have here is one that I saw the movie for, and I rarely do that. I rarely watch a movie before I've read the book, but this is World War Z by Max Brooks. Kind of feeling that terrifying, heart-thumping vibe right now, and, you know, sometimes when I'm in the mood for a scary book like that, I don't have anything on my shelves to satisfy that, so I love a good zombie story if it's done well, if it's not all blood and guts, but if it's, you know, we hear about the plague and whatever happened to make these people zombies. I enjoy those types of stories, so I am actually really looking forward to this one. The next one is a classic, and this is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. I never knew what this book was about, and for the past several months I have heard it mentioned here and there. I didn't realize that it was about the silliness of military bureaucracy, and this is very relevant in my life for the last 20 years, so I am very curious to see what this is about. I would have liked to find this one used, but I did pick it up. Military bureaucracy and how ridiculous it is. The next one, purely a whim. I have been curious about this, and this is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. And I am very fascinated with the sea. I am very fascinated with the creatures that live in the sea. I am very fascinated with octopuses, octopi. Still don't know what the proper way to say that word is, but yeah. And yeah, I'm very intrigued by this. So this is about a woman who works at the aquarium. I believe she's a janitor, And she has had a lot of tragedy and a lot of hardship in her life. So she is not a happy woman. And somehow she befriends a very large octopus who resides in the aquarium, and they become friends. And the octopus helps her to uncover some secrets, and they form a very special bond. So I'm very curious about things like that. I had seen something on Netflix about an octopus and a person, and I have been fascinated ever since. So this is one I did not realize. I don't know how I did not see it. I did not realize till I got to the register that it had sprayed edges, and now I'm even more happy that I got this because it is beautiful, and I'm also intrigued by what it's about. So yeah. The next one is a nonfiction, and this is, you know, focused on mental health, and this is The Anatomy of Anxiety by Ellen Vora. I have picked this up and read the first page or two the last 2 or 3 times I've been in the bookstore. So finally I did decide to pick it up this time, and it's about understanding what your triggers are. It is understanding, or it's about understanding what is ingrained in you and what is caused by external factors like your diet, what you drink, what you eat, things like that. So we shall see. I don't know how entertaining this will be, but it's very relevant, I think. And then this one is one of the other ones that I actually went in looking for. This was one of the ones on my list. I never find it on the shelf. But this is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and I loved The Martian by the same author. And I haven't read a nonfiction in a very long time, and this one has always sounded interesting to me. So it is a man who is on a spaceship. He wakes up and he is alone with his dead comrades on the spaceship, and apparently he has to solve a problem that is life or death for Earth. So sounds great, adventurous, exciting, all the things that I enjoy in a book. And then the next one is also, this is the last one that was actually on my list when I went into the bookstore. And this is one I heard Melinda talking about, I think during her most recent book haul, and I've already started reading this. And that is Mayflower by Nathaniel Philbrick. And this is an in-depth look at the pilgrims who came over on the Mayflower. So the voyage itself, what transpired before to make them travel to an unknown land, and what happened after they got there. All the good, the bad, and the ugly things that happened after they got there. So already very intriguing, very fascinating, and I love a good survival story, and I also love to see the other side as well. So seeing things, taking a non-biased view of bad things that happened from both cultures and the other cultures that were involved. There were a lot of different nations that were colonizing America at the time, so there were a lot of things happening besides just the pilgrims and the indigenous people who lived there. So very fascinating, and I think I'm going to love this. So yeah, that was what I went in for. It was not on the shelf when I got there, but it was the one that I was looking for. So while the friendly employee at the bookstore was looking for this one, I did come across 2 others, which are the last 2 I have here, and they are also by the same author. So I have here Sea of Glory, and this is about early America sending out an expedition to chart the Pacific Ocean. And they ended up stumbling across Antarctica and naming Antarctica. And if you watch my channel, you know that not only do I love exploration stories, but I also love anything to do with Antarctica. I just find it fascinating. So I could not decide between these. This one sounded just as interesting, if not more, than the Mayflower one that I went to get. So I did pick it up. And then, by the same author, I have a problem. I enjoy books that are set on the sea. I love mayhem on the high seas. And it's not even because I love the sea. I think it's because I have been on the sea and I can picture a lot of the things that are happening. But I love a good adventure story. I love a journey. So I love hearing about voyages, whether it's by sea, by train, or, you know, a caravan going across the desert. I love things like that. But the sea tends to be a very long journey. So I think that's what it is. But yeah, this one is in the heart of the sea, and this one has been on my radar since I read Moby Dick, because this is about the whale ship, the Essex, which is the ship and the story that Moby Dick was actually based on. So it's been on my radar since I read that. And yeah, I was waiting there just looking at the shelves while the bookstore employee was looking for this one for me, and I found these two, and I could not decide between the three of them when he brought it back. So that is a problem I have, I guess. I don't know. But that is all that I have acquired in the last couple of... It's been about 4 weeks since I've acquired all these books, but still, it's a lot of books. But yeah, I would love to hear any of your thoughts on these, what you thought, negative or positive, if you've read any of them. But yeah, thank you so much if you've made it to the end of this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.